In this week's On My Shelf, I'll share with you a great memoir, a middle grade graphic novel that celebrates differences as superpowers, why it's good to read books critically, what I plan to do on my Sabbath, and the intensive writing that is Fairendale. I've been studying the art of memoir writing and have a great long list of memoirs to read this year, as I write a rough draft of my own. Mary Karr's The Liars Club was one of the first on my list of memoirs to study, and I'm glad I picked it first. Karr writes with the brilliance of a poet, which, if you've noticed, is kind of a theme in the books I enjoy reading. She tells her stories with great emotion and description in a way that puts you right into the scene with her. She writes truth on the page, mixing it with stories of her childhood, which serves to widen her specific experience into the experience of others. She's writing about humanity as much as she's writing about her family. Karr's story navigates through the death of her tyrannical grandmother, her mother's nervous condition, the split up of her parents, their getting back together, and on into her father's death when she was a young woman. One of the aspects of The Liars Club that I enjoyed the most was that Karr is unashamed to say that the events in her memory do not always play out the same way as others in her life remember. This makes me trust her more, because memoirists who claim to recall everything perfectly from their earliest memory on are usually lying. If we think about the way we remember things in our life, our memory is often faulty, impacted by how we feel today or what the world is like or who we happen to be at the moment. My sister and brother don't remember our childhood in quite the same way I do. That's okay. It means I get to tell my story and they get to tell theirs. We don't write memoir to state all the facts exactly as they happened. We write memoir to figure out our world and, in the process, help others figure out their own world. I also just finished reading El Deafo by Cece Bell to my 9-year-old. El Deafo is written in comic book style and follows the story of Cece, a deaf girl who became deaf after a childhood sickness. It's sort of an autobiography of the author's life, told in a story. Because of her phonic ear, she could hear her teacher anywhere in the school building, which made her create this elaborate fantasy that she was El Deafo, a superhero. She navigates through friendship and insecurity, and finally settles in a place where she knows who she is and what she has to offer the world. It was a great read and an important contribution to the world of kidlit, especially for kids who feel like they are somehow less than because they're different from their peers. In a note to her readers, the author tells them that their differences are their real superpowers. You might have noticed that I've begun a book blog where I take apart books I'm reading and analyze what I like about certain passages. I keep a notebook handy so I can jot down page and paragraph numbers and later record it in my actual book journal. I used to shy away from this practice as a writer, mostly because I just wanted to read. I spent college and high school analyzing texts, and for me, that felt like maybe I was still in school. But the truth is, as writers, we're always still studying. We can read our books and think, at the end of them, wow, that was a really great book. But unless we're marking passages and taking notes on them, we're not really going to understand why. I wanted to start understanding why I loved these books, because I want to make my books better. Sure, we'll get better as writers just reading, but we'll eventually reach a ceiling unless we're actually studying what it is we like and dislike about what we're reading. This means that my number of books read in a month has decreased a little, but I'm still looking to read between 135 and 150 books this year. Next week, I'm taking a Sabbath. It seems like just yesterday I was on Sabbath for the holidays, so I don't feel like I need this one as much as I'll need ones that come later. But I do have some business-related things that don't really have a place right now in my regular weekly schedule. My kids are in school, so I've decided to transcribe some stories I've written in notebooks onto my computer. I used to write all my essays and stories longhand, but I have since discovered that I can create both of these much faster by doing it on the computer. I still write in journals that may or may not be transcribed one day, but all my stories are now written on my computer. I'm working on finishing up the first 6 episodes of the Fairendale series before it releases in March. It's been slow going because it's written in a classical sort of voice, as in formal. Most of my novels are either written in poetry or in a really casual voice, so this one has been a massive undertaking. But I love it. I can't wait to share this series with you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm still listening to the 90s station. I don't think this is ever going to get old. It'll probably get old that I'm talking to you about it every week, but I'm telling you, this music, Gin Blossoms, Everclear, Better Than Ezra, Cranberries, Hole, Sister Hazel, Smash Mouth, just so many great ones. I can't say enough about it. Where is the music like this today? Somebody please tell me so I can stop talking about how great the 90s music is. For more about me or my books, sign up for my email newsletter, where I share an inside look at life and projects I'm working on in the current novel of the year. If you have any questions about writing or books, or how I managed to run a writing career with 6 little ones, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them in future episodes. For more on my shelf, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.